Hi there, my name is Jason Williams, and in this video I'm going to service the carburetor on this TB42 petrol. It's an old carby, like this is really old, and 1989 I suppose, you know, it's not that old, well it's kind of old. Alright, and I'm going to pull this off. I'm not sure how much I'm going to record actually getting it off, because it only takes me about 20 minutes, if that, to take off. And I'm going to take it and record what I'm actually going to do to service it, to clean it, the carby. I'm actually going to try to go fairly in depth and see if I can't get this thing to run better, because especially on like really rough tracks and, you know, a few things like that, this has been coughing, it's farting and backfiring, sort of backfiring, popping. It's probably more like it. It's the carburetor running lean. It's fairly synonymous when something's been sitting around for a long time with old fuel in it, and that's what I suspect to find when I pull it apart. I expect to find a bit of sludge, and I'll go through the process of cleaning all that and getting it back on here, and hopefully it runs a whole lot better. You know, I'm hoping to improve responsiveness, because it's TB42. I expect it to be quite responsive and quite agile, but I want a bit better fuel economy if I can get it. Alright, I'll see how I go. Alright, so got the carby off. As you can see, it's just got this up on the balcony here, and I've got a fair bit of this throttle body and carby cleaner by Newlon. Always, you know, what am I doing this? I mean, I've got to do it. It's running like crap, so I've got to do this, and it's fairly basic. Everything's quite simple here, but it's like I'm being taught all over again. You know, it's like, you know, I'm learning all over again, because, you know, it's been so many years since I've had to play around with carbies. And so long. So all the, you know, you got to clean all the crap off the outside of it, as you know, first, because surprisingly you get a bit of crap in these linkages, and that starts making it run pretty, you know, that makes the acceleration really bad. And you know, maybe I should have taken a few of these things off, but it should be right. I hope I don't have to get into too much, you know. I hope I find an easy way to do this. Oh, by the way, this is a factory carburetor for a TB42, the petrol version, obviously. It's a factory carby. It's a Nitto. I think they're a Nitto. It still says Nissan on it, but it's a factory carby. It's a twin-throated carby. They're nothing super special, but they're simple. I'll see how I go cleaning this up. Oh, and I've got a toothbrush here, old toothbrush that I'll use, because you don't want to use wire brushes on this, because it's quite soft aluminium castings, and that'll just wreck them. You know, it will scratch it deeply. You know, it'll be harder to clean. Things won't seal properly, so I'm gonna, you know, take my time, probably give this a good soak clean. I assume at some stage I'm probably gonna have to get into here, I think where the fuel bowl is, because I reckon there's probably a heap of junk in there. But I've got to be really gentle, and the jets and that I can get to in here, I think. Maybe not. I hope I don't have to just disassemble too much of it. Either way, I'll just take my time with it, and I don't know, I've got to remember how all this works. Well, I pulled this off to where the needle and seat is, and there's not nearly as much junk in there as I thought there might be. There was a bit of crap, like I've been squirting out quite a bit of shit from some other areas as well. So what I'll do is I'll clean that up and seal it back up. But make sure you've got a nice clean area to keep all your bits and pieces in. Probably going to have to go get some more carby cleaner because I'm going through a fair bit of that. And I'll clean this stuff up and continue and see if I can't get this thing to run better. I've been stuffing around with this thing for the last hour and a half. I'm starting to think I've got no idea what I'm doing. Anyway, it is back together and it's roughly cleaned. I think it's pretty clean. Everything's looks good. There's a little vacuum part here for the choke that looks like it might be broken. I'm gonna have to check the operation of that when I get it running. Make sure that's not stuck on, because that would make it use a bit more fuel. Anyway, so there we go. It was a Nicky. The carburettor is a Nicky. There you go. Yes, Nicky. And it's a you know, the factory one that comes on the Nissan Patrols. All right. Guess it's time to assemble it. I mean, put it back on the car. I've assembled put it back together. I took this off to expose the needle and seat and the float, sorry. And I cleaned it all in there, and I mean, it wasn't very dirty. I mean, there was a little bit of rubbish in there, so maybe that was enough to cause it some grief. Just a little bit of it's just, I'm just gonna have to put it on, you know, in the morning. You know, it's a bit late in the afternoon now. I'll have to put it back together tomorrow and give it a run and see if it goes. You know, I might have done something wrong and might not run at all. That's probably gonna happen. All right, see how this goes. All right, so I've got the carby down here. I'm gonna sort of install a little bit, putting it back in together. It's a bit of a pain in the ass to record this because I'll be here, and then I've got to go around there, and then I've got to go around here, do this up, and then tweak that. And you know, I've cleaned it relatively, but I don't feel overly confident. You know, I normally I'll rebuild something or clean it and prepare it, and I'll be like, yep, I'm 100% confident this is going to work. I'm not with this. I feel like I need to do some more to it. Anyway, so here it goes. Going back in first, I generally put this guy on while I can, which is the idle up feature for the air conditioner. Slip onto the locators and the dowels, and you know, pretty simple, basic. You know, these engines are incredibly basic. You know, they don't have to think too much about where things go. I've got this little light here to try help me, because it is dark as under here. It is, you know, it's the sun's up, but it's dark. Right. Oh, that one's a stop solenoid for the carburetor, the fuel shut-off solenoid. Something will be the throttle kickback. That'll be this one for the gearbox being automatic. And not too sure what that one is, but I'll figure it out. I will hook up the fuel, which is this line that I have elegantly taped. with that done and that done. Right, the next step is to, because everything's out of fuel, so I leave this off and yep, I'll leave this one off, the air cleaner, and I've got to turn the engine over a bit, and because it's a mechanical pump, I can't just turn the key on an electronic pump, fill it up. I've got to turn it over so the mechanical pump can and pump it up, and it'll eventually fill the bowl up. Won't take too long, and then hopefully it goes. Well, so it's running. Take it for a drive and fuel it up and see how it goes. Alright, well there you have it. It's it runs a lot better. It did definitely improved power after cleaning it. Idling, yeah, it runs smoother. I've been driving on really rough tracks. Didn't even let my tyres down or anything, just to try bounce it around as much as I could. See if it would think, and didn't miss or cough or didn't do anything it shouldn't. So that was a success. Lucky. How did I manage to pull that off? You know, I didn't do an overly detailed version of pulling the carby apart and cleaning it. I just did a, you know, as you saw, I, you know, removed the butterflies off the bottom and removed the fuel bowl inspection cap, cleaned it all out, cleaned out the idle assembly. Didn't remove any of the jets, but I cleaned as much out as I could, and I used quite a lot of carby cleaner on it. And, you know, squirted it right through, cleaned everything out as best as I could for what I was doing. Don't really have the equipment to do it properly. That would be something maybe when I get home I'll, you know, put it on the bench maybe and completely disassemble it and go through it and clean it 100%, because I reckon it could run better. Does it appear to use less fuel? Yeah, it does appear a little bit, yeah, to be using less fuel. But you know, I won't know until I've run a few tanks through it, and then that'll tell me whether it's increased, because the standard fuel economy on this that I've been getting is only about 5 k's per litre, which is 20 litres per 100, which isn't great, but fairly synonymous for a TB42 petrol, you know. But this is a shorty, so it's fairly light. It shouldn't use that much. So it'll be interesting to see over time how this goes. And no doubt somehow I'll figure out how to update that, or add that into it, or make another video according to, or I don't know, I'll figure something out. But yeah, thank you very much for watching me disassemble a car, or remove a carby and disassemble it, a part of it, and clean it a bit. And sure, it was looked much better. It was, you know, I'm not 100% convinced that it's going to be perfect. You know, I reckon when I get home I'm going to completely assemble it. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll make a video detailing the ins and outs of a carburetor, all the parts, jets, everything, and clean it all thoroughly, like professionally. And you know, maybe that will make it run even better again, probably. Yeah, no doubt it will. And but yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I do aspire to see you in the next one. Cheers.